In 2025, Prince William and Princess Catherine quietly turned a new page in their family life. There were no trumpets, no formal announcements, and no carefully staged photo calls to mark the moment. Instead, the change unfolded almost invisibly, the way many of the most important royal decisions often do. Behind palace walls, away from headlines, the family left Adelaide Cottage behind and settled into what insiders describe as their true forever home, Forest Lodge, tucked deep within the rolling, protected landscape of Windsor Great Park. At first glance, the move may seem like a simple relocation, but for those who follow the rhythms of royal life closely, it signaled something far more intentional. This wasn't about upgrading to something grander or more impressive, quite the opposite. Forest Lodge represents a deliberate step away from spectacle and towards stability, privacy, space to breathe, and most importantly, a calmer, more settled environment for Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis as they grow up under the constant weight of public attention. The location itself tells a story. Windsor Great Park is expansive, historic, and deeply symbolic. It offers seclusion without isolation, tradition without stiffness. The family remains close to royal duties, yet shielded from the relentless scrutiny that comes with life in more visible residences. It's a balance William and Catherine have always seemed determined to strike, even as expectations around their roles continue to grow. But even in this idyllic royal retreat, life is not without boundaries, and not even the future King of England is exempt from the rules. According to long-standing regulations governing Windsor Great Park, all forms of motorized transport are strictly prohibited within much of the estate. The policy exists to preserve the historic grounds, protect wildlife, and ensure the safety of the thousands of visitors who pass through the park each year. That ban reportedly extends to electric scooters, hoverboards, and similar personal vehicles, a detail that raised more than a few eyebrows among royal watchers. The reason is simple. Prince William is known to enjoy the freedom and ease of getting around on an electric scooter. Fans may remember seeing him riding one during an appearance on The Reluctant Traveler, looking relaxed, approachable, and refreshingly ordinary. It was one of those rare moments that made a future king feel unmistakably human. But Windsor Great Park plays by different rules. Insiders suggest the restrictions are strictly enforced for practical reasons: traffic control, pedestrian safety, and the preservation of the park's tranquil atmosphere. As one source put it, William understands the logic completely and is more than willing to follow the rules, even if it means setting aside one of his favorite ways to get around. Duty, after all, doesn't stop at the palace gates. In many ways, it starts at home. Still, royal life is rarely as simple as a flat yes or no. Reports hint at a small but notable loophole. Residents living within certain areas of the estate may be permitted to use electric scooters on private roads close to their homes. These limited allowances are carefully controlled and clearly defined. What remains firmly off limits, however, is one of Windsor's most iconic features: the Long Walk. The 2.5-mile tree-lined avenue leading directly to Windsor Castle is treated almost as sacred ground. Bicycles, scooters, skateboards, and even rollerblades are banned outright. The rule applies universally, regardless of title. It's a striking reminder that while royalty comes with privilege, it also comes with responsibility, and some traditions remain untouched by modern convenience. So while Forest Lodge symbolizes freedom, space, and long-term stability for the Wales family, it also reinforces a timeless royal truth. Structure and restraint are woven just as tightly into royal life as comfort and security. The balance between the two defines the role William and Catherine are quietly stepping into. And that balance doesn't just shape their private lives, it's visible every time they step out in public. If Forest Lodge reflects the couple's values behind closed doors, their recent appearance in Scotland offered a glimpse of the warmth, partnership, and quiet unity that continue to define their marriage. On January 20th, the Prince and Wales visited Radical Weavers, a hand-weaving studio and charity in Stirling. The engagement was part of a packed schedule highlighting Scotland's rich heritage traditions and their importance in inspiring future generations. The visit itself followed familiar royal patterns: conversations with artisans, discussions about craftsmanship and sustainability, a focus on preserving skills passed down through centuries. But amid the expected moments, something small and unscripted unfolded, and it was this fleeting gesture that captured the public's attention. As Catherine sat at a loom, preparing to try her hand at weaving tartan, a symbol deeply rooted in Scottish identity, William stood just behind her. There was no rush, no need to perform. He watched attentively as she worked, his posture relaxed, his focus entirely on her. At one point, Catherine removed her tailored blue tartan jacket and placed it over the back of her chair. Almost instinctively, William stepped forward. He lifted the coat gently, folded it neatly in his hands, and held onto it without a word. No cameras were addressed, no acknowledgement was made. It was simply a husband helping his wife, accompanied by a soft smile he didn't quite manage to hide. The moment resonated deeply with royal fans, not because it was dramatic or polished, but because it felt genuine. In a world where royal appearances are often choreographed down to the smallest detail, this gesture stood out precisely because it wasn't planned. It was human, familiar, quietly intimate, and it carried layers of meaning beyond the surface. Catherine has long been a vocal champion of the British textiles industry. Throughout her work, she has consistently highlighted craftsmanship, sustainability, and the importance of preserving traditional skills. Her choice of attire that day was far from accidental. The bespoke cinched tartan coat she wore was created by London tailor Chris Kerr and made from wool by Johnstons of Elgin, a historic Scottish heritage brand with centuries of craftsmanship behind it. In that single scene, everything aligned: the loom, the tartan, the folded coat, the shared glance. Together, they formed a portrait of modern royalty at its most effective, respectful of tradition, supportive of British industry, and deeply grounded in mutual care. It's moments like these that quietly reshape public perception, not through speeches or statements, but through actions that feel authentic and unforced. They remind audiences that behind the protocol, the titles, and the ceremonial roles are two people navigating the same balance as many families do: duty and love, responsibility and tenderness, public life and private connection. From the strict rules governing their forever home in Windsor to spontaneous acts of affection carried out on royal duty, William and Catherine continue to demonstrate a model of leadership built on restraint, empathy, and quiet consistency. They don't demand attention, they earn it. Before we continue, I'm curious what you think. Do these small, unscripted moments matter more to you than grand royal ceremonies? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoy thoughtful deep dives like this, make sure you're subscribed. Now, let's get back to it. Because the story unfolding around the Prince and Wales isn't about a single house, a single rule, or a single gesture. It's about direction. Every decision, from where they live to how they present themselves in public, points toward a future built on stability rather than spectacle, on consistency rather than flash, and on showing rather than telling what modern royalty can look like. Forest Lodge might sit quietly within Windsor Great Park, hidden from view, but in many ways it reflects a very public message, one that suggests the next chapter of royal life will be defined not by grandeur, but on grounded choices, made deliberately and thoughtfully, one small moment at a time.